All right, and welcome back to our third installment of talking about the Defender series cases from OtterBox. In our first, I just bumped my light panel. In my first video, we talked about an Android case, the OtterBox Defender for the Nexus 7. In our second look at the Defender case, we talked about the Defender series case for the iPad. And now we're showing you Windows Phone users a little love as we talk about the Defender series case for the Nokia Lumia 920. It's interesting seeing the Defender series go from larger devices to smaller devices because to get the same kind of protection on phones, you gotta kind of increase the thickness of the device, and the Lumia 920 is not the sleekest phone to begin with. Thankfully, also, OtterBox, big thumbs up from me for not using a shit ton of blister pack material that I constantly tear my hands up on trying to open. I love the fact that the containers for your cases are really easy to open. And so just like all of the other Defender series cases, this is a hybrid of rubber membranes, hard plastic shells, screen membranes, which protect the screen, and cradles, which will guard the screen from impact or any kind of scratches or abrasions. And these multi-piece solutions work really well for making sure that every surface and port is protected and covered while not sacrificing the functionality of the device. The major difference between the tablet cases and the phone cases is where the tablet cases will have pop-up shelves to use the screen guard as a stand. The screen guard on the phone cases now functions as a belt clip. And this is one of the most secure belt clips that I've ever played with. That thing locks in place. If you want it at a funky angle, it ain't going anywhere. This adds a considerable amount of girth to a device, especially a device like the Lumia 920. So if we put those side by side, you can see how much extra bulk you're going to be adding to make sure that this is a protected device. And the polycarb shell on the Lumia 920 does a good job of protecting against bumps and bruises, but it can get dented. I've got a little corner dent right there from one spill that this phone took from about chest height onto carpet. And this is a little bit more like the Nexus 7 that we went through, where because this is a little bit smaller and you can't have as many locking pieces, the plastic doesn't lock as securely. These two pieces don't lock together quite as well as the iPad case does, which has multiple sort of locking points throughout. But it's not really egregious. And once you get this, the phone into this sort of soft, cushy material here, the phone actually provides enough pressure to keep those pieces fitting together a lot more securely. And now my Lumia 920 feels like a solid work phone. Like this is a job site phone now, you know? It's not gonna be as rugged as like a ruggedized phone. You don't want to get this thing submerged in water. It'll protect against little splashes of water hitting the device, hitting the screen. But you know, if this gets completely soaked, you're gonna get water under that screen membrane. You're gonna get water up directly under all of the plastic guard, and the water's gonna stay in the case, you know? So you want to be careful about that. But now I'm far less worried about if my phone takes a corner drop or if it lands, you know, on its screen, especially because of these extra bezeled edges, which just kind of give you a recessed surface for where the screen actually lies. You can put it face down, kind of scratch it around, and you're just far less worried about any of the phone coming into contact with something which might damage it. Now, because of the shape, there is a cutout for the earpiece and for the camera right up here at the top. So you can still get dust and you can still get, you know, scratches and abrasions up on this Nokia, but I'm a little less concerned about that. It doesn't really impact the screen as much. I kind of worry about the front-facing camera, which mine is starting to get a little dust under the camera element there. But that's more a Nokia problem. That's not an OtterBox problem. Your capacitive buttons down here are fully exposed. And this membrane doesn't really reduce screen functionality at all because the Lumia 920 has a super sensitive screen. You can use the Lumia 920 with gloves on, so that extra membrane doesn't seem to impact performance at all. On the bottom, we've got cutouts open for the speakers, the stereo speakers which fire out. Some of the best speakers on a phone that you can play with before you get to the Galaxy S4 and the HTC One. When this phone came out, it was, in my opinion, the reigning champion of speakers, and a little port right there to open up for your micro USB cable. The camera button has a really great clicky feel to it. The volume rocker, the power button, everything feels exactly like you think it should. The noise reduction microphone at the top is permanently cut out, and then you can pop open this membrane, this little flap here, to plug in your headphones. And then the back also has a deeply recessed cutout for the dual LED flash and the camera. This is wonderful for me because it also, the strip on the camera on the Lumia 920 is sort of a metallic surface, the whole thing which advertises the Carl Zeiss lens, and that can get really scratched up. Especially when you sort of set the phone down, because it's sort of rounded. It rests right on that strip, and so if you move it around at all, you really scratch up that metallic surface, but no more, because that's going to be guarded by this rubber surface here. And also with quite possibly the best camera on the smartphone market, a camera that goes toe-to-toe, and I think subtly beats the HTC One camera. It's nice to know that this is going to be guarded and protected now from the same thing, just from casually sliding the device around, maybe getting it scratched up. And so now using the holster has sort of an edge right there, which sort of locks the phone in place, and then release these angled out so that you can slide the phone in and out, like so. Just snap that down, and then when you want to pop it out, you can pop it out. Or if you want, you can have it screen side out too, and just snap that down. Now, this is sort of nitpicky because the case does such a good job at everything else that I kind of wish that there was a dedicated way that you could use this as a stand, like the Nexus 7 and the iPad Defender cases can. They can be used to prop the device up, and you can't really do that very well. There's one way that I found where you can have a very shallow angle, that because of these angled sort of stand holders, and you have a flat surface, there's not too much of an angle on the surface, then if you wedge the phone on the opening side and then have it rest on these right here, you can have a shallow propped up phone, but it doesn't really quite work as well as you'd want it to. So like I said, that's nitpicky. It's definitely not designed to be used as a stand, but I kind of wish it had the same functionality as the tablet version of the Defender case, because it's just such a cool feature to be able to prop your tablet up in the same stand that you use to guard it. But this has the additional benefit of being the belt clip, so that's kind of cool, especially for those of you who don't like holding your phones in your pockets, and especially since this adds so much more bulk that, you know, it becomes a back pocket phone. You're never going to throw this in a pair of slacks. It's just going to be too bulbous. And so if you want your phone out and about and you want it protected like this, you know, this might be your only option for convenience and comfort. However, what's great about this case, even though it's bulky, there's extra layers of plastic, there's a rubber sheath that goes down the length of the phone. It doesn't interfere with the Lumia 920's ability to wirelessly charge. And that's fantastic. So, you know, if you spring for one of these little Nokia chargers, I think it's also QI compatible, just resting it down, you can just charge it directly through the case. And that's fantastic, because with cases like this, you want to really minimize the number of times you have to pop this thing in and out of the case, because it's kind of an ordeal. If you're thinking about a partially ruggedized case like this, you're really probably looking at a solution which is going to live near permanently on the phone or tablet that you're trying to use. And one of the really exciting things about this case is the retail on this is, I want to say it's $49.99, but I have seen the Lumia 920 Defender case go for as little as $30. And that is a phenomenal deal to protect a premier smartphone. So, ladies and gentlemen, this wraps up our coverage of the Defender series of cases from OtterBox. As always, I'm Juan. This is the OtterBox Defender for the Lumia 920. Check out OtterBox.com for all the fun colors and the other devices that they're supporting. And if you're checking out a rugged case, I would highly recommend it. And ladies and gentlemen, I will catch you all on the next review.